The dining room smelled like turkey and burnt rolls. Mom was already passing the gravy boat like nothing was wrong. "You're not sitting there, Viera," she said without looking up. "That's for family." I froze in the doorway, plate in my hand, the one I'd just warmed in the microwave because nobody had saved me a spot at the actual table. Dad didn't even glance over from carving the bird. "We told you last week this year was immediate family only." Emily smirked from her chair. Prime spot right next to Mom, and leaned into her new boyfriend, Connor, like he was a shield. "It's not personal, sis. We just wanted one normal holiday." Connor looked uncomfortable, shifting in his seat, but he stayed quiet. I felt every pair of eyes flick to me and then away, like I was a stain they didn't want to acknowledge. "Okay," I managed, voice cracking on the single word. "My name is Viera, and trust me, nothing about my life used to feel this cruel." I turned around, walked back into the kitchen, and set the plate on the counter harder than I meant to. The clink echoed too loud. Nobody followed me. From the dining room, I could hear Aunt Linda laugh at something Emily said, the same fake laugh she used when Emily lied about where she'd been all senior year. The same laugh she never gave me. I stood there staring at the fridge, at the old photo from 6 Thanksgivings ago. Me, Emily, Mom, Dad, all smiling like we were actually happy. I wanted to rip it down, but my hands were shaking too hard. Mom's voice floated in, bright and forced. "Connor, honey, tell us again how you and Emily met. It's just so cute." I pressed my back against the cold fridge door and slid down until I was sitting on the tile. My knees came up to my chest. I could smell the food I wasn't allowed to eat with them. 2 years ago, I was the one carving the turkey because Dad's arthritis was acting up. Last year, I made the pumpkin pie from scratch, and everyone said it was the best they'd ever had. This year, I wasn't even allowed in the room. Emily had started it, of course. 3 months ago, she sat our parents down and cried, actual crocodile tears, about how I'd been toxic ever since I moved back home after college, how I stole her spotlight, how I made everything about me. None of it was true, but Mom ate it up because Emily was the baby, the pretty one, the one who could do no wrong. Dad just wanted peace, so he went along with whatever kept Emily from screaming. I heard chairs scrape as people started passing plates, forks clinking. Someone complimented the stuffing. I stayed on the floor, Connor's voice, low, almost lost under the chatter. "Should someone check on her?" Emily, sharp, "She's fine, she's just doing this for attention." Mom sighed like I was a chore. "Let her cool off, she always does this." I hugged my knees tighter and bit the inside of my cheek until I tasted blood. The kitchen light flickered once, then held steady, like even the house didn't care. Minutes dragged. The noises from the dining room got happier, louder, stories, laughter, the pop of a wine cork. I wasn't missing a seat. I was missing an entire life I thought was mine. I don't know how long I sat there, long enough for my butt to go numb, long enough to hear Dad's chair creak when he finally stood up to get seconds, and still didn't walk the 10 feet to see if I was okay. Eventually, I forced myself up, grabbed my coat from the hook by the back door, and slipped out into the cold without a sound. The screen door didn't even squeak anymore. Dad had oiled it last month so Emily wouldn't wake up from her migraines. I walked around to the front porch and sat on the top step, staring at the inflatable turkey glowing in the yard. My breath fogged in the air. Inside, someone turned on music. Some old Mariah Carey Christmas song, even though it wasn't even December yet. I pulled out my phone. No texts, no missed calls, not one person wondering where I went. That's when the first tear fell, then another. I didn't bother wiping them away. I thought that was the worst part of the night. I was wrong. I didn't go far, just to the 24-hour diner 2 miles down the road. I walked the whole way in the dark because I couldn't stand the idea of driving past my own house again. The waitress, Marla, took one look at my face and poured me coffee without asking. I sat in the corner booth and stared at the mug until the surface stopped trembling. My phone buzzed once. A text from Mom. "Mom, where did you go? Dinner's getting cold." I laughed so hard the couple in the next booth stared. Getting cold? Like I'd just stepped out for a smoke. I typed back, "Don't worry about it." 3 dots appeared, vanished, appeared again, then nothing. I turned the phone face down. An hour later it buzzed again. This time a photo from Emily, her, Mom, Dad, Connor, Aunt Linda, all smiling around the table, raising glasses. Caption: Best Thanksgiving ever. I felt something inside me snap, clean and sharp. I paid for the coffee I never drank and walked home because I had nowhere else to go. The house was dark when I got there, except for the porch light Mom always left on, like that made her Mother of the Year. I let myself in through the back. The kitchen was a wreck. Plates stacked, turkey carcass picked clean, my untouched plate still sitting exactly where I left it. Someone had scraped the food into the trash and put the plate in the sink. Upstairs, I could hear Emily laughing in her room, music thumping faintly. Connor's deeper laugh mixed with hers. I stood in the hallway outside her door, listening to them talk about how dramatic I was, how I ruined the vibe the second I showed up. Emily. She always has to make it about her pain, like, get over it already. Connor. I mean, she looked pretty hurt. Emily, colder. That's what she wants you to think. I don't know what made me open the door. Maybe I wanted her to say it to my face. They both jumped when I stepped in. Emily was on her bed in pajamas, Connor sitting beside her, shoes off, totally comfortable in the room that used to be half mine before Mom needed the space for Emily's walk-in closet. What are you doing? Emily snapped, sitting up. Ever heard of knocking? I live here, I said. My voice sounded flat, dead. Not anymore if you keep pulling stunts like tonight. Connor looked between us, clearly wishing he was anywhere else. I stared at my sister, the girl I used to share secrets with, who cried on my shoulder when her first boyfriend dumped her, who I defended when Mom tried to ground her for sneaking out. You told them I'm toxic, I said quietly. She rolled her eyes. Here we go. You sat them down and cried about me like I'm some monster. You kind of are lately. Because I lost my job? Because I had to move back home after Jake cheated and left me with nothing? That makes me toxic? She shrugged. You're just heavy to be around. Nobody wants that on Thanksgiving. Connor stood up slowly. Maybe I should... Sit down, Emily told him without breaking eye contact with me. He sat. I felt the tears coming again and hated myself for it. I made the pies last year. I paid for half the turkey this year with my unemployment check. I'm not a guest, Emily. I'm your sister. Were, she said. The word hit harder than any slap. She kept going. You're not fun anymore. You mope. You judge. You make Mom cry with your whole poor me routine. So yeah, we decided it's better if you're not part of holidays for a while. Maybe when you fix yourself. I looked at Connor. He wouldn't meet my eyes. I turned and walked out, closed her door softly because slamming it would have been too dramatic. And God forbid I be dramatic. In my room, actually the guest room now, because Emily needed the bigger one, I locked the door and sat on the edge of the bed. That's when the real crying started. The kind that doesn't make noise because you're too broken for sound. Shoulders shaking, throat raw, feeling like someone scooped out my insides and left the shell. I cried for the sister I thought I had, for the parents who chose the easy child over the one in pain, for the home that suddenly wasn't mine. I fell asleep still wearing my coat, mascara smeared across the pillow I'd bought with my first paycheck ever. I never heard Connor leave Emily's room that night. The next morning I woke up to pounding on my door. Mom's voice, sharp. Viera, open up. We need to talk. I opened the door. She stood there in her robe, hair perfect even at 8 a.m., holding a mug like a weapon. Your sister is very upset about last night. I stared at her. Okay. She said you barged into her room and screamed at her. I didn't scream. Don't lie to me. Connor heard everything. Connor? Of course. Mom kept going. This is exactly why we can't have nice things when you're around. You escalate everything. I felt the last thread holding me together fray. You banned me from Thanksgiving dinner in my own house. It's not your house when you act like this. I laughed hollow. Right, I forgot. I'm just the tenant who pays for groceries and gets treated like a stray dog. Her face hardened. If you can't respect the rules, maybe you should find somewhere else to live. The words hung in the air like smoke. I looked past her to Dad standing at the end of the hall, arms crossed, silent as always. Say something, I whispered to him. He looked at the floor. Mom stepped closer. We love you, Viera, but we love Emily too, and she's been through enough without you making her feel guilty for being happy. Happy, I repeated, by destroying me. That's not... Get out, I said quietly. Excuse me? Get out of my room. She opened her mouth, closed it, then turned on her heel. Dad followed like a shadow. I closed the door and locked it again. That afternoon, I started packing. Not everything, just the stuff that was undeniably mine. Photo albums, my grandmother's necklace, the journals I'd kept since middle school. I worked in silence, folding clothes into the same duffel bag I'd used when I moved home 6 months ago, thinking it was temporary. Emily avoided me all day. Mom and Dad acted like nothing happened, watching football, making turkey sandwiches, pretending the family wasn't fractured beyond repair. Around dusk, Connor showed up again. I heard his car in the driveway. I was carrying a box to my car when he stepped onto the porch. Hey, he said awkwardly. I kept walking. Viera, wait. I stopped but didn't turn around. He came closer. I'm sorry about yesterday and this morning. I didn't know what to say. You didn't have to say anything, I told the driveway. You just had to not take her side when she lied. He was quiet for a long time. Then, there's stuff you don't know. I finally looked at him. His face was pale, eyes red like he hadn't slept. What are you talking about? He glanced back at the house, then stepped closer and lowered his voice. Emily's been telling everyone you're mentally unstable, that you threatened to hurt yourself if she didn't break up with her last boyfriend, that you stole money from your parents. None of it's true, I know that now, but she's been building the story for months. I felt the ground tilt. She showed me texts, he whispered. Screenshots of you supposedly saying awful things. But last night when you walked in, you didn't look crazy. You looked broken. And I started thinking about the dates on those screenshots. He swallowed hard. They're fake. She used an app. I found it on her phone this morning when she was in the shower. My knees almost gave out. There's more, he said, voice shaking. Your college fund, the one your grandma left you that disappeared senior year? Emily took it. She's been paying for her trips, her clothes, everything. Your parents think you spent it partying. She forged the bank statements. I couldn't breathe. I'm telling you because what they're doing to you is wrong, and I can't be part of it anymore. He reached into his jacket and pulled out a flash drive. Everything's on here, he said. Screenshots, the app, transfers from your account to hers. I'm done lying for her. I took the drive with fingers that didn't feel like mine. He started to walk away, then stopped. For what it's worth, I believe you, and I'm sorry I didn't see it sooner. He got in his car and left. I stood in the driveway holding the drive like it was a bomb. Inside the house, someone turned on the porch light. Mom's silhouette appeared in the doorway. Viera, dinner's ready if you want to join us. I looked at her, at the woman who chose a lie over her own daughter, and felt something inside me go very, very still. I didn't come inside for dinner. I sat in my car with the flash drive in my lap and opened my laptop. Everything Connor said was there, and more. Fake text conversations time-stamped to make me look suicidal. Edited bank records showing withdrawals for drugs, concerts, plane tickets I never took. Even a forged email from my old college advisor saying I'd been expelled for plagiarism when I'd actually graduated with honors. Emily had been planning this for years. I cried again, but this time it was different. Quieter, colder. Then I made copies. Cloud, external drive. Emailed them to myself from 3 different accounts. And I waited. 2 days later, I walked into the living room where Mom, Dad, and Emily were watching some Hallmark movie, acting like the perfect little family. I didn't say a word. Just plugged the drive into Dad's laptop on the coffee table and hit play. The first image, Emily's phone screen, opened to a text-faking app. Mom frowned. What is this? I let it run. 10 minutes later, the room was dead silent. Emily's face had gone white. That's not... Someone hacked me. Dad's voice was terrifyingly calm. You stole $28,000 from your sister. Emily started crying. Those big performative tears she was so good at. I was going to pay it back, I swear. Mom looked at me, eyes wide, mouth open. For the first time in years, she had nothing to say. I finally spoke. You wanted me gone, I said quietly. You got your wish. I walked upstairs, finished packing the last box, and carried it down. Dad tried to stop me at the door. Viera, honey, we'll fix this. We'll make her pay it back. You had 6 months to notice I was drowning, I told him. You chose the easy story. Live with it. Emily was sobbing on the couch now, screaming that I was ruining her life. I looked at her one last time. "No, Emily," I said. "You ruined yours the moment you decided my pain was competition." I walked out. 3 months later, I'm in a new apartment, new job, new city, 2 hours away. The college fund is back in my account, plus interest because Dad insisted, probably out of guilt. Emily is in therapy she can't afford because Mom and Dad cut her off completely. Last I heard, Connor broke up with her the day after I left and hasn't spoken to her since. Mom calls sometimes, leaves voicemails that get longer and sadder. I don't call back yet. Maybe one day, maybe not. I spent my first Thanksgiving alone this year, on purpose. Ordered Chinese food, watched old movies, and didn't cry once. It wasn't revenge with screaming or slapping or public humiliation. It was quieter. I just stopped protecting them from the truth. And sometimes that's the most powerful cut of all. What would you do if this happened to you? Tell me in the comments. Thank you for watching Revenge Cut. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more tales of betrayal, justice, and redemption. Until next time, stay strong and never stop believing in your truth.